Hello, everyone. Just got back from taking some more photographs at Fort Ticonderoga. And one thing came to mind. Sometimes when you're shooting an event, you may not have as much background about what's going to happen as you'd like to have. For example, the photos that I took this weekend in some parts were much further away than I anticipated. So while I had my 24-70, which was great for doing the pictures of other parts of the event, because I was much closer to them, when it came to the battle that they portrayed, I was a good distance away, and I had not brought another lens with me. However, I shoot with a Canon R5, which allowed me, with the 45 megapixels, to go out and crop those images down sufficient to make it look like I was closer. So, a couple of lessons out of this particular thing for you. First, if you're shooting an event, see if you can get a hold of the planners and figure out where everything is going to occur in relationship to where you are. There were several of us taking photographs, and we're all kind of surprised at the distance from us. Completely understandable, because they were firing off their muskets, that you need to have a distance between you and the action that's going on. But we were a little further away than a couple of years ago when we were in the snow. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you've got a camera that is a lower megapixel, you have a problem when it comes to cropping, because you can't crop down to where you want to if you're going to do something other than social media. If you're going to do social media, you're probably fine, for the reason that the images that you're taking are going to be on such a small screen that a smaller DPI won't matter. And if you're not sure what I mean about DPI, I have a couple of other videos on this channel that you can take a look at. But basically what it comes down to is how many points of ink for an ink printer are there going to be on your image. And the less there are per inch, the more blurry the photograph looks. So if you want something highly detailed, you want those DPI to be as high as they can be. Now, there are limitations depending on who you have produce your image for you. But for the most part, what you're going to want is 200 to 300 DPI for those images to make sure you get detail. When you have another image that's a lower megapixel, cropping it makes it look fuzzy. It may have been in focus when you took it, but it's going to look a little fuzzy because of that change in resolution. So keep that in mind when you're going out and shooting an event, that if you are shooting an event and you do have other lenses that you can use those lenses. Now, for me, a 70 to 200 would have been great to have on hand to take that photograph, because the 200 probably would have brought me in much closer than I was, and allowed me to go without cropping. I've used a 100 to 400 for taking foliage photographs, and that has a great range to it. But again, certain lenses are going to be better for certain things. Doing an event, you probably want to keep as much of it in focus as possible. So a f of 5 or above is not going to be that much of an issue. If you're trying to shoot an image where you want that good bokeh behind it, that's at a distance. That's when you have to worry about getting a lower f on your lens. But having a higher megapixel camera, and there are some out there that I believe go up to 60 megapixels, gives you some freedom when it comes to having to crop the image down and be able to get into uh, making it look like you were much closer than you were while still keeping that good resolution for pictures that get printed. But if all you're going to do is social media, then even if you've got a 20 megapixel camera and you have to crop it, you're probably going to look okay. But that's what I got for you for lessons learned from this photo session. First thing is to try to keep as many lenses as you can with you. If that's not possible to have multiple lenses with you, then go for a higher megapixel camera and try to see if you've got a lens that covers the range that you need. Now, I needed the 24 for some of the photographs from the battle. Otherwise, I would have had to get farther away. So the trade-off is going to be if I had the, let's say a 100 to 400 on there, I would have to be further away from the battle in order to get the width of the action in the lens. The other thing to keep in mind if you're going to use multiple lenses is take some time to practice swapping your lenses in and out. Because remember, every time you swap that lens in and out, you've not only exposed the shutter, which probably has a shutter over it, so you're okay for the most part, but you've got the other end of your glass that could then pick up some dust as you're going. So get in the practice of changing your lenses in and out to get used to that process. By doing this over and over again, you create some muscle memory. It'll make it quicker and easier for you to do when you're out in the field. It'll also make it kind of second nature. You need to swap out the lens. You just pop it, drop it in your bag, pop it back on. Make sure you've got your bag with you as well so you can get used to the entire process. Just do it over and over again, a dozen, 20, 40 times, just so that you make sure that you've got that down. So when the time comes for you to swap that lens, especially when you're shooting a live action event and things are happening rather quickly, that you have the capability of just grabbing the lens, swapping it with the other lens, and continuing on with very little delay and without any loss in the action that you're photographing. And that's what I got for you guys this week, and I will talk to you all next week.